Egyptology lovers, so there was a little bit of a mishap. The plant had fallen over, so a few things had broken. No worries, they'll grow back. But I've cut off some of the stems, and now we're going to be able to harvest, make some papyrus papers. So we're going to do some of that and show you guys how to make a small piece of paper out of papyrus. So stay tuned for that. So we'll come back today and I'll show you how to, I put them in water here, you could see, but I'll show you how to remove the green skin and then how to harvest the interior and how to flatten it and put it in water to get that color that we want that looks like that. So yep, stay tuned for that, and this is going to be how to make papyrus paper. Hello Egyptology lovers, welcome to the papyrus making time. So as you can see, I have my papyrus plants over there, and I've cut out my big plants over there, and I've cut out some stems over here for you guys so you can see. So I'm just going to show you how we make papyrus paper, but this is going to be a 3-day process to understand the whole process. So let me just show you here. This is the work table here. And you can see that's the papyrus paper over there. So I won't be able to communicate with you because I'm showing you what I'm doing. So let me go ahead and start talking about it. So papyrus paper is grown along the Nile for thousands of years, and Egyptians used to use it to make paper, like you could see over here. The papyrus paper that I have, a project I've been working on. You could see here. So this is the end result, and you can cut it and size it and do different things. But we're going to show you how this works. So first thing you need is, of course, papyrus. Well, here's a bit of my tree, my stalk. I cut it up. Okay, so I just cut it in pieces. So I have to pick a size first. So, well, I'm going to do some sheets. My sheets are going to be about, they're going to be about 11 inches by 7 inches. So 11 by 7, just so I can make a full sheet because I don't think I might have enough. So this is how you do it. You take this papyrus, you chop it up to the sizes that you want. Now I'm going to show you how to prepare it. And you're going to see a bowl of water there, which is very, very important. This keeps it nice and moist, and for some reasons I'll explain to you in a bit. So when you cut papyrus paper, you get the stalk, especially if you start growing it. What's going to happen is you're going to have something like this. Now, it's triangular. Can you see that? That's how it grows, in a very triangular way. So you get to cut it now by removing the outer layer, which brings you to this. You see that I've already cut some so you can see what it looks like. So it's quite easy. The way the inside is shaped, the material itself, it's very lined. It's like almost like material like clothing. That's why they made so much stuff with it. So what you do is you take a knife and you put it at the very edge of the first triangular area and you cut through. By cutting through, it's very natural. Once you get through the first time, now you, especially with a good knife, now you just flow. You see, you just flow. It doesn't really do anything. And you just, like that. And there you go. Now you have the outer shell. You turn it over, you do the same thing again. You cut out the outer shell like that, you could see. That's it. Do it again. Now we're not going to cut everything, but what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to do one. So you understand how the process is made, but then I'm going to come back in 3 days when the papyrus is actually ready to be used. So there we go. I'm just going to cut off some trimmings at the end here. Like that. And cut the trim off over here. Make sure not to cut too much of the actual papyrus plant that you need from the inside. This is just the outside. And that's it. So that's one. This is going to be my long, and then we're going to have our shorts 8 inches. So this is the size of the paper that's going to be. So when you have something like this now, you start cutting it up more. So you have the triangle. You could probably get about 3 layers. So you start by going from the top, you see? You go from the thicker, see how it's shaped like a triangle? You cut from here. So you can maximize your paper. So you cut a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. So you give it a nice little something like that. The thinner the thinner it is, the thicker it is, the higher the quality. So I'm just going to cut through a little bit here. I'm just going to position my hand properly. So there. You see the same thing. You see the lines? You see how they have this rigid line system? That is the way you can cut through and you can maximize it like that. So there you go. You have your first one. And when you have something like this, and see, this is not very clean, but that's okay. But that's how sometimes they did it. But to get a good accuracy, you have to cut properly and take your time. And then you put it in the water. That's it. You just leave it in the water, let it soak up the water so we can start putting it together later on. I can even give my knife some water so it can pass through nice and smooth. because the plant loves water. So it's almost like rice. When you do sticky rice, you got to put your hands in water so the stickiness can go away. And it's the same thing with papyrus paper. So you see here, right through, you see how it's coming through, making sure not to cut over it. Like that. See, now I made a mistake and I cut through because I'm trying to show you guys. But that's okay. I can still utilize this. It's not a problem. Actually, I don't really want to use it. So let me just go back down. So I still have a little more. So let me cut through this properly so we can get through this video and it won't take too long. Right. So there you go. So I'm going to cut through, nice and through, making sure I don't splice it off. And there we go. I have now 2 layers. Now I'm going to put that in the water and that's it. So that's it for cutting. Now you know how it's been cut and how it's prepared. Now I'm going to show you a little bit about the actual skin. Now this type of skin was used also by the Egyptians. They made boats out of them. They made hats out of them. They made baskets out of them. They made so many things out of these actual papyrus stems. So the plant was useful in many ways. So yeah, so this was used for many different things. And even till today, they still do that. In some countries, they still take the actual plant skin and then use it to make several things. So there you go. That is an example of what the Egyptians used to make things. All right, let's prepare our first papyrus plant. So let's prepare our first row. I'm going to show you something here. Now this one's been in the water for a bit. All right, this one's been in the water. So I'm going to take this one out. This was dry, like the first one I just put in. This is still dry, but when you put it in the water, the plant soaks up the water. And you'll see what I mean. When you squeeze it out, look at the water coming out of it. You see? It's dripping because it loves the water. It soaks it up, and that's what you need. Now this needs to sit in the water for 3 days. I'm going to put them all in the water first. We're going to wait 3 days and come back, and I'll show you. Once this has been in the water for 3 days, because in 3 days you get the white color that you see over there. In 6 days you get the dark color, which I don't have. It's a dark, dark color. And once you do that, then you lay it down over here like this on this cutting board, which I have. This is just a small one I want to show you. You take a rolling pin and then, let me just move my rulers and stuff so I'm out of the way, and you roll like that. You flatten it out. And by doing that, so for example, let me go back to this. See, this is very rigid. This can break. But once you have water in it and you roll it out like that, I'm just going to give it another roll. Like this, and like that. You flip it over, do the same thing on the other side, right, like this. I try to go in one line. And this is the versatility of papyrus paper, and I'll show you why. Once you have it flattened out, ready to be a layer, because they're plaid-shaped sections, cross-sections, you take this paper, now look at this, just look. It was rigid before, with water, and when you flatten it out, it's not so rigid anymore. It's actually very bendy and flexible. You could straighten it back out again. Doesn't break. It's like clothing. And this is the beauty about papyrus, that it can be so easily manipulated, and that's what they came up with the idea. Even when I work through the process of making the papyrus paper, I'm amazed at how versatile it is and what it can do and how it can accomplish as well. So let's move this over here, and I'm going to show you what happens after this. Once you have the lines ready in 3 days, which I'll show you, you lay it down like this. Now you begin making the paper. And by doing that, what I mean is you begin to lay them out. Now, I'm not going to show it. I don't have everything right now, but I'm going to show you. This isn't ready, but this is sort of ready. Right? You start laying them out like that. You see, in this type of cross section. And you keep doing it like this. And like that. And so on and so forth. And once you have the length of your paper, the specific length that you want, then you begin the other way process where you lay them that way now, going from horizontal or vertical or whichever way you're oriented, and you begin the same process. So this will be my 11 by 6 sheet of paper, and that's what you do. Once you have all that lined up, then once that's complete, let me just put these back away for a moment. Let me just put these away so you know, you already understand what this is about. Once that's complete, you take 2 materials. I already have a cloth here. Okay, you take the first one, and what you do is, let me just take these right now and I'll show you. You take 2 cloths. You lay these out, for example, like this, right, in their proper pattern. right? This is just the rough, guys. We'll come back in 3 days and you'll see a proper layout. Once you have it set up like this, then you take your cloth, your other second cloth. Now remember, you have two. You have 1 and 2. You lay it down, and then you put the Egyptians put a heavy boulder or rock on top of it, and that pressed against it. And basically, the papyrus has its own stickiness, like banana. When you eat a banana and you have the peel, you see that it's still kind of sticky, and that's the type. It has its own adhesive stickiness to it. And then you lay it down for maybe about a day or two in the sun, or just put some pressure on it, and within about 2 to 3 days, maybe 1 or 2 days, it should dry, and the paper and the papyrus will come out like that. This papyrus is also very flexible and very bendable. You can do many things with it. If this becomes wet, it doesn't break. It actually just becomes more malleable. So in this case, this can be turned around, twisted. You could do a lot of things to it, and it still comes back to its original shape. And this is how the Egyptians do it. Here you see I have a roll of it. And that's how the Egyptians did papyrus paper. And they used it for so many things. And that's why not just the Egyptians, but the Romans, the Greeks, they all adopted the papyrus paper. Now, why do we have more papyrus paper from Egypt than anywhere in the world? Simple answer. The papyrus paper in Egypt stayed in the desert. It was acrid, it was dry, so the paper didn't get destroyed from the moisture. But all the papyrus that was in the delta, more towards the Nile to the Mediterranean, they got destroyed because of the waters destroyed them. So that's why. That's why you don't find any Roman papyrus, any Greek papyrus. They're all pretty much gone. There's nothing left because they've been destroyed by moisture and weather. But in Egypt, we still have one of the oldest papyrus papers from the 4th dynasty during Khufu's construction pyramid. And you have it. It's called the Journal of Merer. Go check it out on YouTube. It basically accounts the details of a captain transferring materials from area to area. And that's 4,000 years old paper. You don't even find Roman or Greek times, which is like 3,000 years after. So that's the impressiveness about papyrus. As long as you keep it dry, this could last for centuries, thousands of years if I keep it dry. That's it. All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Come back in 3 days. I'll put a note for you guys to come back and see the actual beginning process. So these here are going to sit in the water for 3 days. When they're done, we're going to do what we did before. I'm going to cut all these up. When they're done, we're going to come back and we're going to squeeze them out. We're going to roll them. And that should give us basically our papyrus plant. And then basically start lining them up and setting up our actual paper. And I'm going to cut all these right here. I'm going to show you guys if I can get that over. You see, I still got to cut all these. All these have to be cut. And they've all been harvested from my plant in the corner there. You can see that plant in the corner. Let me move that over. See that plant? All these have been harvested from there, and I'm going to make papyrus paper. It's simple as that. If you can grow it, you can have your own paper as well. Well, I hope you enjoyed this, everyone. I'm going to post this, of course, in a big post for video, so you can rewatch it several times and learn a little bit about it. Thanks again for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed, and have a great day. Thanks again.